Hey everyone, and welcome back to Dead Mall Walking. Most people in the Dead Mall scene, whether they've consciously thought about it or not, have a favourite Dead Mall. Mine is not Forest Fair Village, although it's definitely up there, Century 3, or Rolling Acres. It's Blue Ridge Mall in Hendersonville, North Carolina. A modest 300,000 square foot mall in a city of 15,000 people. And while I wouldn't suggest anyone went out of their way to see this place, I'll get to why it holds such a place in my heart a little later in the video. The mall was opened in 1983 and is anchored by Belk, then a TJ Maxx, Dunham Sports and Joann Fabrics at the other end. The space that was occupied by JCPenney until 2017 is still vacant, and we'll take a quick look inside there later in the video. Blue Ridge didn't get off to the best start, opening at just 40% occupancy, then anchored by Kmart, JCPenney and Belk Simpson. Coincidentally, that's probably about the occupancy level it's at now, more than 40 years later. Ugh, 40 years. I see a date in the 80s and my brain still thinks, that's about 20 years ago. The mall was foreclosed on in 1991, just 8 years after opening, when its owners failed to make payments for 2 months in a row. It's been sold a couple of times since then, and is currently owned by Hull Property Group, who own a bunch of other similar malls. Their portfolio also includes Charleston Town Centre, which I'll be releasing a video on in the future, as well as Fairgrounds Square Mall, Cincinnati's Eastgate Mall, and the supposedly haunted Greenwood Mall in South Carolina that I released a video on for Halloween. And they love sticking post offices in them. So, let's get to why I'm such a fan of this place. Well, many years ago, it's somewhere I stumbled into to walk off a big lunch I'd had after pulling off the highway on a road trip. Tinny music playing, tons of empty units, shadowy remnants of signage that had been pulled down. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This place was the first dead mall I ever encountered in the wild, before I had any understanding of what a dead mall was. Those of you who followed the channel for a while might remember that I called St John's Centre in Leeds the first dead mall I ever visited, but that wasn't quite true. Although it's long had major liminal backrooms vibes, St John's Centre wasn't really dead when I visited it as a kid. It's only after I returned years later that I saw how much it's struggling now. But it was Blue Ridge that first sparked my interest in dead malls. Maybe it feels patronising to call a mall cute, but that's the vibe I get from this place. It's only one level, with 40 units in total, and you can walk the whole thing in a space of about 5 or 10 minutes. Here's what this former JCPenney space used to look like, by the way. Even despite the closure of retailers like Walden Books, Hallmark, Rue 21, this place still has sort of a towny community feel that's increasingly rare to find these days. And if you check out these pictures from a couple of decades ago, you'll see how little things have changed. Then, on my last visit, out of nowhere, I thought disaster was about to strike. As I was walking around filming, I heard a booming voice say, "Hold up there, Mr. Dead. I'd like a word with you." I turned to see a grizzled security guard with a long grey ponytail walking towards me. Think the older Matthew McConaughey character in True Detective. I'd been filming for about 20 minutes, poking around in vacant spots, and was a little concerned I'd been rumbled. But Mr. Dead, was this guy familiar with the channel? How could he be, given that I almost never show my face on this account? Ready to get the boot from the mall, the security guard walked up to me and gave me a big smile. "You know," he said, pointing at my shirt, "I used to follow those guys around in the 70s. I looked down at my band tee, emblazoned with a skeleton, Bertha, and the logo of the band The Grateful Dead. Ah, Grateful Dead. Not Dead Mall Walking. Relieved, we had a nice conversation about his time as a deadhead, the state of the mall, and what a British tourist was doing so far off the beaten track. As I walked away, he had one last piece of advice for me. "Make sure you listen to Garcia sometime. The wheel will change your life, man." Your typical Paul Blart, this guy was not. But your prototypical small town mall, this place very much is. In an alternate timeline, a documentary could have been made about Blue Ridge instead of Jasper Mall. I have no doubt that this guy and the stories in this mall are just as compelling as those of Mike McClelland and those in Jasper. Check out this huge Dunham Sports. It was completely empty when I visited and sort of feels like overkill for a city of 15,000. A lot of other stores were seeing some foot traffic though, and the mall was humming with activity in places. There were lots of kids running around with their parents, who I didn't film for obvious reasons. Places like this one are a microcosm of what I love about the United States. That might sound like a strange thing to say about a struggling little mall with a carpet that you would charitably describe as busy. But these places have a charm that's completely absent from big super-regional malls managed by the likes of Westfield and Simon. It's why I'm sad to see so many malls like it closing for good. Almost a decade after my first visit, and a Photos app groaning under the weight of mall pictures and videos, this mall has a lot to answer for. It was great to visit it again. It was exactly how I'd remembered it, and it's rare revisiting places that trigger nostalgia live up to expectations like that. If you happen to be passing, drop by and check it out. Just tell them Mr. Dead sent you. The mall currently has no food court, just a GNC where you can grab a power bar. And that's something they'll probably want to address if they want to take full advantage and draw in more footfall. Hopefully the mall finds some more pop-up shops to fill these spots, which is something they've done successfully in recent years. As promised earlier, let's take a look inside that vacant JC Penney anchor space. Although the internal doors were open, there was still a locked door that stopped me getting any further inside to poke around. I considered doubling back to ask my new security guard friend if I could take a look in there, but I figured I'd probably push my luck enough for one day. I just love those mirrored columns though. It's nice to get back to my retail roots after spending so long focused on my Mothman documentary, which went live last week. I've still got a bunch of mall videos in the pipeline from a trip to the US last autumn, but I'm actually heading out to Texas soon, so I'll be adding a few more to that backlog next month. Lots of content to come in 2024. So what does the future hold for Blue Ridge Mall? Well, maybe all is not lost. Plans to build a 4-story extended stay hotel in the mall's parking lot this year have been delayed, but are still ongoing. With a proposed 124 rooms, Echo Suites could prove to be a boon for the mall, even if some locals are concerned about an influx of people milling around their properties. Quick shout out to Tokyo Toy Box up ahead, a specialty retailer focused on anime, toys and gaming. A bunch of people were sat outside playing games while I was there. It's exactly the sort of quirky retailer malls like this will need to embrace if they want to thrive. Plant those apple trees, folks. OnlyFans in a dead mall? No, never mind. Thanks for checking out this video and giving me a chance to shine a light on a smaller dead mall that I can't imagine too many other content creators in this space have covered. I only hope it's still there, maybe even thriving, the next time I happen to be passing by. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. It really is a big help. As always, my Instagram and some ways to support the channel are linked in the description below. Until next time, goodbye from the Blue Ridge Mall in Hendersonville, North Carolina.